So I was gonna start the video before I lit the cigar, and then I was like, nah, they'll just think I'm being dramatic. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right. So here's the thing, right? So as I sit here on this Monday, what the fuck is today? The fucking second? Yeah, the 2nd of August. It's fucking August. Holy shit. Anyway, so it's like, wow, so 2021, right? And I'm just like, wow. So anyway, so I think Paul Flores goes to court tomorrow, which is like, thank God. Or soon, fucking think tomorrow. Anyway, the fucking point is that, it's like, and then it's like, oh, I'm just like, fuck this. Nah, man, fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. It's really interesting, right? So I talked to my friend yesterday. My friend, I can get two people on the fucking phone, pretty much. I can get a person that I just seemingly, thank God they pick up the phone, but at the same fucking time, it's like, out of all the fucking time, it's like it doesn't go pretty much anywhere other than helping me to fucking figure out little things here and there, which is just wonderful. Thank you very much to that person. As far as times, dates, or possible times and dates, and that's pretty much what our conversations nowadays consist of, which they never did in the past. So that's the whole point. It's like then on top of that, so and that's the whole thing. It's like and then there's a new person that no matter how many times I say you got to just keep moving forward and I'm like, hey, listen, it's nothing against you, man. It's like, I'm talking about murder, death, and destruction, and like, I don't exactly know how to fix the fucking issue because every time I go to talk about I gotta keep bringing it up because then we got sidetracked into fucking, other conversations. And then it's like, and then if I go to talk about that, it's like, well, then, it's like, I hear you, man. It's like, so anyway, so the point being of me making this video, right? And I'm saying to myself, it's like, now it's just fucking interesting. That's what I'm saying. It's just a real fucking interesting thing because I'm like, wow, that's so fucking interesting. So other than the Paul Flores thing and that whole thing that's like kind of going down, which I'm like, you know what, just fucking whatever, man. It's like, so I freaking I already said this. I think I already said this. I don't know if I posted the video. It's like the other day, I go for a walk, and as I'm walking, I hear this loud fucking, song, playing on a radio, not in my fucking head, I hear a loud song being played off in the distance, and just as I'm walking past, like, this song playing. It's like blah 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 blah, just like yakety yak blah, and it's like blah. I'm like sound like fucking driving. So the point being, now that's just that's interesting, But I'm saying to myself, it's like it just made me wonder to myself, like, what exactly, they were, I fucking forgot the other lyrics that I was hearing, so I couldn't really go and look up the song to find out who was singing it or what was actually being said to even analyze anything at that point. But so I just started to fucking not even care. I was just like, ah, well, whatever. It's like, mental note, but not fucking, because it was nothing that I ever heard before. To tell you the truth, I could say that it almost sounded in like the format of like Run DMC, almost, but it wasn't an old song. So the point being is that it's really interesting because from that point it started to make me think of like how when I was able to call my friend, uh before the weird shit picked up with the Tentacion kid and freaking not being able to get my friend on the phone and all this other shit. And we were already talking about the fucking Dylan Roof fucking situation because it was like, well, what the fuck? Because obviously that fucking was a complete fucking, like, what the fuck, situation. And, which was 3 months or 3.5 months prior to the Dillian Roof situation. So as I'm listening to all this, and in my now as I'm thinking of this, not listening to this, as I'm thinking of this in my head, I'm thinking of the other interesting parts, like right before I went down. I'm pretty sure it was right before. I think it was 2019 because that's when I went to the fucking concert. And then a few months prior to that, I think I went to go see, just to go out to a fucking certain location where somebody was supposed to be performing. I wasn't going in, but it's like just because of certain memories that came up, I was like, let me go see. And it's like, so the point being is that it was somewhere in between. I think those two things happened a few months apart, which is interesting. Now what's interesting about that is because, in other words, like when I went out to the city that time, which I didn't go out to the city very often, so I freaking, I was like, all right, well, I'm freaking right here. I might as well go fucking to this, and see, just see what's there, And I know I grew up in fucking Long Island, but I really don't go out to the city very often. So the bottom line is that the interesting part is that it was only like a 2 blocks or 3 blocks away. I fucking said, okay, fucking, I'm gonna be fucking deadbeat tired anyway by the time I get freaking 12 blocks back the other way. So I went there and freaking, but I wasn't selling CDs. Now I said this in the other video. It's really interesting because shortly after that, like maybe 2.5, 3 months after that, I'm thinking it was like 2.5, 3 months, maybe even 3.5 months. Maybe it was just maybe it was like almost 2 months. I don't know. But the bottom line is that what's really interesting is that I was up at the store and I had my CDs. I had a couple of my CDs on me. I'm trying to say, I need a few dollars, blah, blah, blah. Here's a CD. And I know CDs are outdated and blah, blah, blah. But the point being is that I seen these two officers coming out the store and I was like, hey guys, I'm like, listen, I'm like, I got some good music here, blah, blah, blah. So that it kind of gave them a heads up of what I was doing. Plus, obviously, I didn't need the situation from the last time where, like, it was like, what the fuck are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. What are you doing up here? Blah, blah, blah. When I made the $280 in 2.5 hours, with a little tiny speaker in my hand and, the copies of my CD, right? So I didn't need that whole situation to pop off a second time. So I was like, hey guys, and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, well, we're on duty. We really can't accept that. But then they were being nice. And that's fine too. That's good, but it's like, because I was literally, that's why I was being nice too. I was like, I don't want there to be problems. Plus, hey, maybe you like a song or two, blah, blah, blah. I don't want you to think that I'm up here doing anything fucking super bad or whatever the fuck you think, So the point being is that freaking, the one cop, and I already said this right when it fucking happened, pretty much. Maybe a day later or 2 days later, after I thought about what the fuck was really being said, and I made some videos about this, and it's like, the one cop, he turned around and he was like, hey, he's like, aren't you the same guy? Aren't you the same guy that was freaking out in Times Square handing out CDs? And I was like, no. I'm like, what? He's like, oh, what? He's like, you're not in trouble, man. He's like, you're wearing the same thing. He's like, and yeah, no, this is, you would definitely the guy. And I'm like, no, man. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, that's, it's interesting you'd say that, and he's like, yeah, no, I'm like, how positive would you say? Because I knew I was positive I wasn't out there. And the cop, he's like, you didn't do nothing wrong, man. He's like, he's like, you're the same guy. He's like, you're wearing the same shit. And he didn't say that. Like, he said it very nicely. And it just made me say, like, I don't want to, first off, I'm not going to argue with this man because obviously, he knows, like, his job is to identify people, you know what I'm saying, in certain situations. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, But I'm saying to myself, I'm like, yeah, I wasn't this guy. So now I'm saying to my freaking self, it's like, and he's saying his actual words were that I was wearing the same clothing and that it looked like me. And he's like, yeah, you were definitely the guy that was passing out the CDs. And you know, it's funny. It's like, and he's like, yeah, this was about 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, I'm like, so right before he actually leaves, you know, because then he's like, he's like, sorry, we can't take your CD. He's like, I bet your songs are good, blah blah blah. He's like, but we're on duty. I'm like, yeah, all right. And then as they're walking away, I'm just like, let me see if I heard that correctly. Just one more time. I'm like, look, I'm like, I don't want to bother you too much, right? But I'm like, how positive, how, like, literally, like, how positive are you that it was 2 weeks ago or 2.5 weeks ago? I'm like, are you sure that this was about 2.5 weeks ago? And he goes, yeah, definitely 2.5 weeks ago. Because he thought about it for maybe 5 seconds. I don't know. You know what he's like? He's like, yeah, definitely like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks ago. And I'm like, yeah, no, I wasn't out in the city. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, wow. I'm like, and I told him, I said, thank you very much, and blah blah blah. Now the reason I'm saying this again is because, going past, and I'm getting to the actual story of why I'm saying this. So then I'm thinking of this after hearing this on the fucking radio, and I'm like, oh man, that's so interesting. Yet again, there's another freaking, reference point in my head. And then it's like a weird reference point, okay? And then on top of that, there's the situation that took place back when I was in my old place where I was living, and the friend slash acquaintance telling me, and then literally, like, bringing somebody and was like, is this the Anthony you're talking about? Is this the guy that you think, And I heard what the rap, Anthony, rap. So I started rapping out a song, and freaking the person was like, well, that's the song, but that's, even though it looks like him, it's not him. All right. So that's weird reference point number two. Weird fucking reference points here, man. Now, the only other thing that I'm saying at this point in time, now that's why, and then I bring it to a day after walking up the block. Right. So after walking up to the store and hearing this, just as I'm passing. Now, a day later, at around about the same time that I was walking up to the store the day before, around about that same time. Now I'm all the way on the end of fucking almost the end of Long Island, mid to towards the end of Long Island. Okay, so something goes down fucking the next day, and I don't find out about it until yesterday. Now, why is this concerning to me? Because here's the interesting part. First thing is, as I just clicked the video, and I'm just like, oh, that's really interesting because of, first off, the topic, and then I'm like, let's see what they're calling this, which has nothing to do with me, right? It had nothing to fucking do with me at all. Period. Fucking the bottom line is that it was interesting because of the area, and then I'm like, okay, so let me click this, and it was interesting of what the title was, and I'm like, okay. So something horrific fucking happened, okay? Now, unfortunately, I let the cigar go out, and I'm not trying to dramatic pause. I need to keep myself fucking in a mentally fucking caffeinated, nicotined fucking coma. Alright, so the bottom line is I clicked this video, and, not even think, like, I'm just like, that's interesting, and I'm watching, and it is a horrific thing that takes place. But as I'm listening to two of the videos, and then I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, did that person just say my fucking name? Now, I don't know, because it was being said in a different language, and it was being said, you know, which is really interesting, because I'm saying to myself, it's like, it's like, it's like something else interesting takes place, which is, I'm not going to go into the fucking, because I don't need to bring bad attention to the right people that may be doing the fucking possible wrong fucking thing, which is the right fucking thing in the fucking heaviness of the situation that I'm not going to go into, because at this point, people's fucking brains are like, okay, so you're past goldfish. What the fuck is that? Carp? You know what I mean? Whatever. Okay. Salmon? you know? So, what I am saying though is that it's like why, and they were like blah blah blah, and the things that they were coming, like they stated very interesting, and I'm still waiting to fucking, because I looked up like what I think that they were saying in another language, and I'm like, that would be okay, and then it's like that definitely sounded like my name was mentioned, and then freaking, or not my elongated name, but my last name. And then I'm saying to my freaking self, I'm like, wow, that's really interesting too, because of the interestingness of the group slash organization slash, it's like that's the whole point that was mentioned right after that, and I'm just like, wow. I'm like, wow, man. It's like so. The point being is that it was really interesting that I was on the phone talking with a friend, and one of the two people I can get on the phone, which is pretty much the person that I've known pretty much the longest. And right after that conversation earlier that day, something very interesting happened with Instagram. And I was like, wow, that's so, what the fuck? I'm like, what did I fucking hit a nerve? With something, because obviously if somebody's listening to shit that because it has to be, and that's the whole point. It's like, so it's interesting that we started talking about slightly something new instead of debunking something. Well, it was something old, but it was something new brought to light. And it's really interesting that, it's like, as we started to talk about that, and right after we got off the phone, that's when I would say about, shortly after we got off the phone, I go to check freaking Insta, and that's when the fucking something very interesting with Instagram took place. Now, I was able to get a message out, and I don't know if it was heard or not, and I don't know if anybody is paying attention. Probably is, on many fucking levels here at this point. But at the same time, it looks. I understand the intelligence part, but I am fucking running. There is, I don't know what the fucking option is no more, because I can't stomach anybody. And I'm tired of the bullshit from every fucking direction. And all the other shit that I'm saying is so fucking real, it's not even funny. That's why, it's like, so the point being is that, so last night, I was so fucking pissed off that, I'm saying, now it wasn't 20 minutes. It was like a couple hours after we got off the phone. Now, it was about 20 minutes before I got on the phone with them. I said that wrong. It was about 20 minutes before that there was no problem. Then we get on the phone, we talk, and then it's like some new shit comes to light, and then it's like, wow. And then the minute we get off the phone, I'm thinking somewhere in between that point and the next time I get fucking on the phone with this person, said thing goes down. Now, here's the thing. That would have been maybe separated by a few hours, okay? So, okay, here's the next interesting thing, and it was significant to me, but I don't care if I don't know if it was significant to fucking So I was just fucking pissed. I'm like, oh wow, just another way to fuck with me, right? Even though this is where like level of paranoia comes in play. It's like, but at the same time, it was real fucking interesting that like right after starting to mention this, it's like all of a sudden this gets fucked with, and then it's like, well, I can't even if this person never fucking replies in words. It's like now I can't even write anything or do this. It's like, but I can write. Do never mind. The point fucking being is that the problem. I call up my friend because now not only is the old conversation with the new shit circulating in my head, but then there's just I just go off on the whole fucking like, for 4 fucking years, this shit is picked up, nothing's fucking done, this is going down, this idiot's going to fucking court, blah blah blah, and fucking I'm just ah. You know something? It's like right after getting off the phone with that person, right after mentioning the fucking, how fucking weird it was with the fucking Instagram, pulling the fucking all of a sudden, I get off the phone with them, and maybe 20 more minutes pass, and then all of a sudden that problem goes away. 20, 40 minutes, not even 20, about, I don't know. I would say about 20 to 40 minutes later, an hour, you know, all of a sudden that problem goes away. And it's back to somewhat fucking normal ish. That is what I consider like a just awkward coincidence. But it was a very, very interesting because, in other words, the problem wasn't happening with everything. All right. It was happening with a specific. And that's why I'm saying to myself, like, it's really interesting because I was still able to get at least one thing towards that. And that is why I'm saying it's like real fucking interesting, you know. And on top of that, after I get off the phone with the friend I can get on the phone, which I'm just at this point, it's like I already know, like that's what I'm saying. It's like there's no doubt in my fucking mind of how fucking coordinated this all very, very much was throughout the fucking years. And it's like now it's really sunken into my fucking head because every time I go to fucking move forward, and trust me, I can move forward like a motherfucker. All right, so don't start the fucking bullshit like this guy is. Oh, no, motherfucker. I never talked about anything that I've fucking been through in my life. Like the shit that I'm been kicking for the past fucking every video I've made so far. No, I don't talk, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how fucking fuck this shit, man. Fuck this shit. This is tired. This is sick and tired. This is beyond fucking tired. I'm gonna end up fucking killing a fucking sheriff or a cop, or the cop's gonna end up more than likely killing me because it's literally I'm living in a fucking house where I was kidnapped when I was 4, and I'm tired of everybody's bullshit and me fucking trying to tell me, oh, it's all in your head. It's like, fuck you, man. You know what I'm saying? Fuck this shit. But with that said, so with that said, it's just really interesting that I'm saying to myself, it's like, like I said, I walked up the block, I fucking heard the song, and it's like, wow, man, it's like there's no misinterpreting that with the fucking song. And then I'm thinking at about the same time I heard that song, which is just this is the part of the weird coincidence. You know what I'm saying? It's not even like the fucking it's not even like I could tell which fucking place it was coming from. I just heard this fucking loud shit, and I'm just like, wow, that is so crystal clear that they're saying fucking, So it's like it's not that they're fucking talking about me per se, right? So, but that's the point too, is that the next thing that happens, right, is is this horrific thing that I come across magically on my fucking phone. I come across this thing and I click it because it's interesting, obviously. And, you know, it's kind of sort of around a location I've been fucking talking about anyway. And then I'm just like, wow, that's fucking, you know, let's find out what the fuck's going there. And it's like, wow, it's like, holy shit. And then I hear the fucking, and then this has nothing at this point. The fucking, there is no, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, could that motherfucker just say my name? Yo, and then I'm like, wow, and then it doesn't even matter. I'm like, as far as the other fucking thing that he said, I was like, wow, man. I'm like, that would make sense going backwards towards like the fucking. That would make sense going back towards more like, you know, like Dylan Roof wasn't surrounded by anybody of his skin color, you know? And then yet again, and then I'm saying to my fucking self, I'm like, wow. And then I'm thinking to my fucking self, I'm like, wow. I'm like, on top of that, my friend, when he was going on looking up my songs, there was another fucking person calling themselves by my last fucking name. And, you know, and even if they spelt it a little bit different, for some reason, my friend was picking up on their videos more so than my own. And then on top of that, he was telling me that when he clicked my videos, it would bring him to this other fucking guy. But this guy, on the other hand, like now this is why I thought about the freaking police officer saying what he was saying to me, because there's no way that, in other words, what my friend told me fucking 6 years, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and even past that, he's like, you know, because a few other times, but and we went over this pretty somewhat extensively, and I did look up the fucking person, and I'm like, wow, that's really fucking weird too. It's like, but the point being is that, in other words, this person that I'm talking about would be black. Now, the one that my friend was talking about. So now I'm saying to myself, now as far as the police officer that I was like, you know, would you like a CD, blah blah blah, and he's like, no, I can't. I'm on duty. You know, we're both on duty, but you know, it's nice to freaking, you know, I bet you your music's good and blah, blah, blah. And that's when he said, you know, to me that, you know, somebody was passing out CDs wearing the same fucking clothing as me that I was wearing that day. He's like, yeah, you're wearing the same clothes, man. He's like, it was you. And I'm like, no, it was not me. You know, I didn't want to argue with him. I did not want to argue with the police officer. You know, while I'm trying to freaking hustle up a little bit of money so that I could fucking eat at that point. Or buy a pack of cigarettes or whatever the fuck I needed to do in life. You know, it's like I didn't want to argue with the nice police officer. You know, at that point, it's like and it was like, well, you're not in trouble. I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, okay. You know, I'm like, and that's why I said to that man, I said, you know, it's like how certain, without, you know, insulting you, like I was being very humble, man. But I'm like, how certain would you say you, and he's like, I'm pretty certain, man. I'm like, yeah, about 2 weeks, meaning, you know, I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, all right, man, I'm right, man. Have a nice day. But that's why I'm saying it's like certain things just came to light about, and I know this ain't gonna make sense to fucking. I don't give a fuck who it fucking makes sense to. You know what I'm saying? Because if I was to sit there and just lay it out for you, then it would just be just like, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck, man. Man, people. Man, it's just like fucking, I really don't. I don't give a, man, I have tried my fucking hardest. I have tried and tried and tried again. And just watching people's bullshit fucking try to fucking, oh, calm down, or let's not think about this. It's like, fuck you, bro. Seriously, this is all that's on my mind nowadays, man. Now, you woke up the fucking giant, you woke up the sleeping dragon, you fucking brought nothing but a fucking stick to a dragon fight. Are you fucking kidding me? It's not. Here, let me light that bitch for you, motherfucker. I'm tired, man. I'm so fucking tired. So fucking tired, man. Fuck this shit. So that's why I freaking made this video. Just a couple of some of which seemingly were just weird little coincidences, and yet when applied to, you know, things that fucking, you know, how many fucking coincidences, you know what I'm saying, and then time periods and, you know, mathematical breakdowns of how fucking much is that a possible not fucking coincidence compared to coincidence, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, granted that, you know, it's just at the precise, it's just fucking it's just very, like, wow, man. And not to mention that, you know, it's like, you know, the cop obviously, you know, could identify whether I was white or black, you know what I'm saying? Or at least I'm pretty sure the cop would be able to fucking, you know, that weird coincidence is, you know, different than my friend saying, hey, look, this guy's got the same type of name as you, and for some reason his videos, not even when my friend was clicking my videos, it was bringing him to this other black kid that was calling himself by that. And then it's just really interesting, the horrible fucking horrific fucking thing that went down. But there's obviously no fucking, you know what I'm saying? There's no connection. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? What up, Dylan? Hey, Dylan Roof. You still in there? Yeah. You get fucking barbecued. Yeah. Don't worry. You'll be hanging with fucking Pazuzu soon enough, bro. I guarantee you. You and Pazuzu can fucking hand job each other. Anyway, along with Paul fucking Flores and, you know, fucking and fucking, you know, and the rest of the fucking. All right, man. I'm out. It's been fun. Thank you.